Recording in progress.
So go to chapter 20, Economics IGCSE, monopoly. So when I talk about monopoly, basically we're talking about firms, only supplier in the market. So the firm, the business is the only supplier of good or service in that market. So that means the firm makes up the market. You know, a market is a combination of all firms. But in this case, the firm is the one making the market. So let's read. What is monopoly? A pure monopoly exists when just one producer supplies the market. However, there's also a legal monopoly. In some countries, if a firm has 25% or more of a market, it is said to be a monopolist. Pure monopolies are not common, but they do exist. For example, in some countries, pure monopolies operate in the water and rail industries. In some markets, there might be local monopoly. This is where one firm supplies an entire local market in the way a village shop might be the only shop in the village. So what we're saying about monopoly is it's simply a supplier of good or service in that market. That makes it a monopoly. Then we have different kinds of monopoly. We have the legal one. It is legal because government backs it up. So government might be the one initiating such monopoly. That's why we call it legal. And it could be a local monopoly, whereby that business is the only one supplying in the whole of the village. Yeah, is it clear? So we go to the features of a monopoly. Are you with me?
Yes.
The first one is one business dominates the market. It is a monopoly because there's only one business, one firm that dictates everything that happens in that market. That's the dominance. It is the only one dictating. It has the dominance over everything that happens. It's in charge of what goes in and goes out of them in that market. That's the first one. Is it clear? Unique products. The products supplied by monopolies will be highly differentiated. There will not be another exactly like it. It's a monopoly. So it's the only supplier, right? It's the only producer. So whatever it produces, no one else, no business else can produce it. So there's no substitute in that market. Is it clear? The third one, barriers to entry. So because it's a monopoly,
The third one is price maker.
oh, sorry, thank you. Price maker. So we call it a price maker because it's the only supplier in the market. So it determines what price to sell. And if it has to determine what price is to sell, it determines what quantity to put into the market too. Do you get the point?
Yes.
It determines the price to sell and the quantity to put into the market.
Yeah.
Any question about that?
No.
We move on.
Barriers to entry.
Now, barriers to entry. Because it's a monopoly, there's no free entry or exit. Nobody comes into the market, nobody goes to the market. So initially, there wouldn't be monopoly if there is free entry and exit. But for the fact that there's no free entry and exit, that's why we call it monopoly. Is it clear?
Yes.
Any question about that?
No.
So these are the features of monopoly. Then, for barriers to entry, there are different reasons why we have barriers to entry. Number one, legal barrier, like I explained the other time. Legal monopoly. It is legal. There's legal barrier because government makes it to happen. So government could choose a firm to deal with. So that firm continue to provide goods or services to the whole society. So that means that is the only firm that is authorized to produce good or service within that economy. So that is a legal one. Clear?
Yeah.
The second one is patents. For patents, I'm explaining one at a time, For patents, we're talking about where you have the license to only supply in the market based on the fact that you are the business, you are the firm that does the research and development to bring up the new product. So patent means a license that only allows you to sell until you are able to cover your research and development.